You probably heard you need a portfolio to get hired in data, so you build one, a few projects on Gaggle, maybe a Tableau dashboard or two, but after a lot of applications, silence. Here's the truth that no one tells you: most data portfolios don't get you hired. And it's not because your skills suck, it's because your projects don't prove you can solve real business problems that are related to the business you're applying to. In this video, I'll show you how to plan a strategic portfolio that gets interviews, callbacks, and real job offers. So here's what you're about to learn: a 5-step framework to plan portfolios that you can reuse for most entry-level data jobs in your market, how to build what I call a T-shaped project that hits about 80% of the job listing keywords in your local demand so your work actually gets noticed, and then how to use AI tools to build faster even if you're starting from scratch. My name is Jeff. I became a data analyst over 13 years ago, worked my way up to a business analyst consultant at a Fortune 5 company where I am today. And I know that the job market is rough right now, but I'm on a mission to help 10,000 people break into data analytics by sharing weekly actionable insights to get you hired. So if you're serious about landing your first data job, hit that subscribe button now, because I'm here to guide you every step of the way. You're watching part 2 of the Epic Launch System, my full roadmap for landing your first data job. So this is going to be a video series. This is the fourth video in the video series. So if you're starting from scratch and you missed the previous steps, that's okay. You can still get value from today's lesson, and then you can dive into the previous lessons after this. We're diving into the P: plan your portfolio so your projects can get interviews, not get ignored, and so you don't waste effort. There are going to be two major mistakes that I see most people making when trying to build their portfolio. First, they just build random projects based on whatever data set that they find, or they just try to jump into some niche projects too early before they've proven that they have the foundation that's applicable for that job in that industry. So we're going to modify that and not do that right now. Instead, what we're going to do is build a T-shaped portfolio. Basically, it's a few smart projects that cover a majority of the open jobs in your own market. So here's what I mean. You want to picture a T. The horizontal bar is going to be your foundation. These are going to be your broad, high-level impact projects that prove you know the core skills of every job listing that they're asking for. This is going to be like tools like Excel, SQL, Python, Power BI, or Tableau, and then the ability to solve everyday business problems. This is what is going to get you noticed and hopefully get you more interviews. Then once you start getting traction, you're going to want to pivot into a specific field like healthcare, finance, or marketing. Then you're going to build down that vertical stem for that specific vertical or industry. So when you're applying and you finally built out your surface level broad projects, you're going to dive deeper into your niche projects. So this allows you to have a broader portfolio and gets you more callbacks and offers. This also gives you broad flexibility to apply across industries so you can get hired faster without wasting time on projects that don't matter. So why are we doing the planning first before actually doing any of the building? Because most beginners start out with random courses hoping that it's all going to click, but don't have a real project to anchor your learning. So it's easy to get overwhelmed and burnt out. When you first start with a scope project and learn just enough to build it and know what is important, at least for me, that's what helps me stay focused, and it also helps me avoid wasting time on features or other skills that might not matter. And then it helps me build confidence as I learn. So this is what it's called just-in-time learning. And it's a key part of how this is going to help you get hired faster and also help you retain what you're learning to an actual business problem and project so that you retain the information. Here, we're going to break it down into two different phases. The first phase is going to be building a broad portfolio first. And I created a memorable framework for this. This is what I call the hired framework. You're going to use real job data and you're going to create 3 to 4 broad portfolio projects that is going to check the boxes for 80% of the open entry-level analyst roles in your area. So each project is going to use universal tools that you see in the listing: SQL, Excel, Power BI, Python, or anything that is mentioned a lot across all of the listings. And then in phase 2, this is when we're going to layer in the niche projects strategically if the job market is tough and you're not getting hired into that entry level role that you want. I've seen people get hired on just broad projects alone. So that's why we're just going to phase this in on the second phase. Once you're getting interviews, that's when we're going to start building this. Then only then you start niching down. What it looks like right now is you're going to choose 1 to 2 high leverage industries based on your experience, your local demand, and your interests. So finance, marketing, healthcare, or whatever has the majority or the majority of your interest. Then you're going to create deep dive projects tailored to those industries. Use industry language like formulaic coverage if you're going to healthcare and you're going to the PBM world, patient output, LTV to CAC ratio, which is lifetime value to cost acquiring a customer. That would be on the startup business side. One question I know I'm going to get is why not start with niche projects from the beginning? And here is my new updated and honest answer. In a previous video, the one where I broke down how I'd become a data analyst today if I had to start over, I said that I'd build a crypto and fintech focused portfolio. And at that time, that made sense for me because I was willing to grind hard, network aggressively, and chase a handful of niche competitive jobs around me. But when I took a step back, I reevaluated for the majority of my audience, for you, the actual get a data job community. And then I realized something important. Most of you are not trying to land that specific hyper niche role. You're just trying to get you're trying to get hired fast on limited time while working or supporting a family. So I would step back and then ask myself, what is the most reliable, repeatable way to get your first data job without relying on luck or getting burnt out? So to be clear, these niche projects can work, especially if you're willing to hustle, but creating a broad strategic portfolio gives you more long-term flexibility to get a job faster, more visibility, and a better shot at landing your first role because you can apply to way more jobs. Let's start with H, which is going to be for hunt for real local job demand. You can't build the right portfolio if you're using the wrong market or don't understand what the market wants. Here, we're going to search for all the relevant entry-level data analyst and analyst equivalent jobs in your local area. I use LinkedIn Jobs and Indeed only, but you can expand this to other platforms. But the reason why I'm using this because the data is easily accessible. Also, these platforms reflect companies that are willing to pay to hire people. Now you're going to filter for experience for entry level, and then you're going to look for data analyst, junior analyst, associate analyst, and then analysts. Just look for equivalent job titles and then your region and your city, and then the miles that you're willing to drive there. Now, optional things that you can add on top of this, you can search city business databases like the DBA, which is doing business as, or LLC listings to find more businesses. You can also combine this with Yelp and Google Business to find companies that may hire analysts but don't post job listings. Then research them manually and expand your prospect list. Minimum here, the more data that you have, but the minimum I would say at least is 20 to 50 relevant job descriptions. But honestly, the more research that you do, the better that you're going to understand your job market. So when I did this, I analyzed all open entry level positions that I could apply to within my local market, just to put it into context that I would be willing to commute to that was reasonable. And that was about 53 open positions at the time that I searched this, which was a couple weeks ago. Which brings us to the I, which is identify and structure the data. Now that you've collected real job listings, and I didn't mention this earlier, but you're going to take all of those job listings and put them into a Word doc or Notion, Google Doc. So from here, you have two options. You can either manually do it in a spreadsheet. If you're new and brand new to data work, this might be the most reliable way to start. You can open Excel, Notion, Google Sheets, and then create columns to capture the key information for each job listing. Or you can use a combination of AI to help you extract the data. So this is what I did. I used ChatGPT. You can use the free version. And if the job descriptions have similar formatting, like from the same site, what's usually going to happen is that there's slight variations, but ChatGPT, if you paste it in single amounts, you can see if the output of what is extracting it will be good enough. And then just ask ChatGPT to pull out the key details. Also, if the format is messy, which happens with some of these companies and is inconsistent, it's better just to paste the listings, even though it's a pain, one at a time, or in smaller chunks just to see what ChatGPT can give you and see if it's accurate enough. Future Jeff here, just wanted to reiterate inside this section because when I was trying to redo and test the prompts out, ChatGPT was giving me headaches and it was really frustrating. So basically what I did was I took all the LinkedIn and Indeed data, placed it in Notion, and just made one really big unstructured of just compiling everything together. What I did from here was I put this initially into ChatGPT to made it into this structure where it's title, experience, responsibilities, required skills, desired preferred skills, salary, and then industry, and then just had it break it down by all of the different job listings. You can do this in different batches depending on how ChatGPT can compile everything. When I was trying to use one of the prompts to change this into a table, ChatGPT was struggling a lot. And what I did instead was I tested out Gemini, and Gemini did it significantly faster and easier than ChatGPT. So I suggest that. And this is with the free version of Gemini as well. What I did was I exported that data into a PDF and then uploaded it into Gemini and asked it just to use the same prompt to create the table that we need so that we can finally do a full data analysis on this to see what are the trends so you can create the best portfolio. And it was able to significantly create this table more accurately and at a faster pace. So after this, you're just going to use the rest of the prompts that I mentioned inside the video, but just wanted to mention that Gemini is going to be the thing that you want to use to make it significantly easier and not have this frustrating of an experience when I went back and tried to test out everything again. And this is what we're going to use in our next step to find patterns so you know exactly what your portfolio should focus on. If you're more technical, and if I had more time, this is what I would have done. You can automate this with Python VBA. But if you're just getting started, don't worry. A spreadsheet and just some manual cleanup and work will be more than enough for you to place in the ChatGPT or any AI tool to get the analysis that you need. This brings us to R, which is refine to choose 3 to 4 portfolio projects. This is where we're going to zoom out and select the 3 to 4 highest leverage portfolio projects that give you the broadest coverage across the roles in your local market. This is going to be the horizontal bar of the T-shaped portfolio for what you're going to be applying to so that you get 80% of the job listings so you can apply to the most jobs possible. Here is a prompt that you can use to speed up the process. Here is a collection of entry-level data analyst job listings. Please help me analyze it to first identify the top 4 tools or tool combinations that appear the most often. 2, spot the 3 to 4 most common business problems or industries. Recommend 3 to 4 portfolio project ideas that would cover at least 80% of the roles listed. Here is the collection of data below. Next, you get the output, and then we move on to E of hired, which is execute your projects. You're going to build projects that feel like real work experience, but before you build, you're going to need a plan. One thing that's clear, that's realistic, and tied to what hiring managers are actually looking for. What you're going to do here is you're going to use the project recommendations that we got from ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you're using from step R. Now what we're going to do is convert those project ideas that we got earlier into this format. And we have those 3 to 4 rough project ideas from step R. What we're going to use is use ChatGPT again to turn this into job-ready track briefs. So from here, this is going to be the prompt that you can use. I'm building a data analytics portfolio and receive the project recommendations based on real job listings. Please convert each project idea into structured format using the track framework below. Another framework that I'm adding, which is the track framework with an exclamation mark, which is going to be like your own project blueprint. So it's easier to remember. Title, real problem, analysis tools, critical KPIs, key stakeholder, and impact. Be specific, use realistic business problem, common KPIs, and tools relevant to data entry-level analysts. Here's an example of the format and the level of detail that I'm looking for, and then it goes over to what I mentioned earlier. And now here are the project ideas that I want you to convert into this format. What you can do here, depending on ChatGPT's the level of complexity and detail that you want to add to these, here, just go through and revise and work with ChatGPT and collaborate until it's honed in onto what you need. And then the last step, we're going to turn each of these projects into your personalized learning plan. So we're not actually building these projects yet. We're just planning so that you know what you're learning or what to pay attention to as you go through whatever learning platform or learning method you're going to be choosing in the next steps. This is just how we're scoping this. We're going to use this second prompt to reverse engineer what you need to learn and how to learn it just in time for creating these projects. Here's the AI prompt that you can use. You are a senior data analyst mentor helping a beginner plan their portfolio project. I'm brand new to data analytics with little to no experience. I'm working on building a strong portfolio, and I've scoped out this project using the track framework. And then you're going to place that track framework that you received above. I want to understand exactly what I need to learn so I can build this project confidently and retain what matters most. Please just break this down into beginner friendly learning plan, including first the key skills that I need to learn for each tool listed, any analysis techniques, business logic I need to understand, 3 step-by-step beginner tutorials or learning paths for each part, and then 4 recommended order to learn and apply each skill as I go, and then 5 is a bonus mock up or public data sets that I can use to simulate this project. Format your answer as a simple, easy to follow checklist with short explanations. Keep your tone warm, encouraging, and practical, like a mentor helping someone get started on the right foot. You want to make sure that you solve a real business problem. Always ask, what decision would this help make someone make? What is a good portfolio project that should feel like it belongs in a company, not just a school assignment? And then you're going to use public or mock data. Great sources are going to include Kaggle, Makeover Monday, or synthetic data sets that you create yourself. Just make sure your problem feels real and is what hiring managers care about inside that industry that you're applying for. And you want to be able to leverage your current job if possible. You might just have to tweak it and change it so it actually applies to your real business and what you're doing in your work. And then you can frame that as a portfolio piece. And then finally, we get to D of hired. You're going to deliver with impact and insight. What most people do when they finish a project, they just stop at the project. They stop at the charts, the dashboard, but that's not going to get you additional interviews. The insight and your recommendations do. Hiring managers want to know, what decision should we make because of this analysis. This is the step where you prove that you can actually speak the business and you can show impact, not just the data. Here, after you build your project, what you want to do is not just show the numbers, you need to tell a story. So again, we're going to go back to the CAT framework that we introduced in earlier to structure your delivery like a mini case study. So again, the CAT framework is context, action, translation. So first is the context. What was the business problem? Why did it matter? Action, what analysis did you perform? What tools and methods did you use? And then translation, what decision or insight came out of it? How do I translate this to real business impact? What time and money did you save or earn because of this? And then on top of this, you want to have a business hook. So what I mean by this is you're going to wrap this CAT summary with a clear business focused recommendation. Based on the past 3 months of ad spend, shifting 5K from TikTok to Facebook could increase ROAS, return on ad spend, by 18%, generating an estimated 12K in additional revenue this quarter. And would be even more relevant if you could actually find a business and analyze their data to get to this insight, or do it for your own company that you're working for. Now, on your final delivery formats, what you're going to do is you're going to choose one or more of these to make your project feel work ready. You want to have a 1-page stakeholder summary and then a final slide in your dashboard labeled recommendation, or have like a mock email write-up or executive write-up, or record a short 1 to 2 minute video walkthrough where you go through the project and your recommendations afterwards. Then you want to go into explaining your logic behind the insights, walk through the key calculations, filters, the KPIs, and the numbers that you use and how, and the tools that led to your specific results, but you need to be able to do it in plain English. Next, after you finish your core projects, you just repeat the same process for 1 to 2 niche projects after you've finished this core foundation. And then you can start applying with this core foundation. If you're not making it past the offer and getting the jobs, then this is when you're going to layer in creating these niche projects for those specific industries. If you're ready to start learning the tools to actually build these projects, the next video is going to be for you, where we go over step I, which is improve your skills with strategic speed. I'll show you how to use AI's tools to learn faster, avoid fluff, and pick the right platforms for your goals. And if you need a great starting point, I use DataCamp myself. I paid for it before I ever became an affiliate, and you can try it for free using the link below. And if you're serious about getting hired, watch the next video. And until then, query responsibly, and then catch up on the rest of the videos if you haven't by watching the playlist here.